Okay, so now last piece of our small project here is adding lighting. I've created this camera here, and then I changed the settings in the rendering to be V-Ray rendering because we're gonna use V-Ray lighting. So first of all, let's apply a V-Ray material on this whole thing. On this whole project, you just click on M on your keyboard for the material editor, and then you'll see a material, a V-Ray material already installed in here or put down. Just select everything that you have. You may select it from the browser or from the window. So I'm gonna select everything apart from the camera itself, obviously. And then we're gonna say assigned material to selection. Okay. You can see here that the door, these did not get material, so I'm gonna try that again. Great. So now for the we're gonna create first a sunlight kind of simulation here. So first thing we need to do is eliminate the glass panels so the sunlight can get into the room. So normally you get the option of either creating or adding a glass material on your glass panels, but since we didn't talk about materials yet, we're just gonna eliminate the object that represents the glass here. So to do that, I'm gonna first make my walls as a poly or editable poly, and the reason I'm doing that is just to fix the opening that was created by the windows and the doors. If not, if you modify these windows, they're not windows anymore or doors, so the opening might get closed again. So now I'm gonna go to each one of these, and again, same idea, make them editable poly also. So and selecting elements, I'm gonna select these panels that represents the glass and delete them. So you can see that we can see the inside of the room here. I'm gonna go to the other window, and again say editable poly, take that and delete it. And then same thing for my third window here, poly and delete. Okay, now if you click C, you can actually look at the view of the camera inside the room. Just make sure not to move it or anything, just so we can have it fixed to this view. Okay, so now we're just gonna install or create the sunlights. So now we're gonna go from the create tab and then light, V-Ray, and then we'll say V-Ray sun. And I'm gonna put that to a corner like this. It will give you this warning that if we would like to add the V-Ray sky environment, we'll say yes for now. And then we'll modify this. I'm gonna grab the edge here that represents kind of where the sun should be, and I'm gonna move it forward. Alright, again I'm gonna unselect this snap because I don't need it right now. Alright, so let's modify this. So in here we're gonna change how much the radius is. for the sun to kind of include the whole room. And you can see kind of the angle where we should expect the sun rays to get in. At this point we can run a test render. I'm just going to click F9 on the keyboard to see what this looks like. Okay, this looks pretty much nice actually. You can see sort of a simulation of sunlight here, and the lights are getting in on this side. Next, we'll try to add some cove lighting in here. There's something weird in the ceiling. I'll have to look at it and then modify the cove lighting here. Alright, so this polygon has been acting strange actually, so I'm just gonna delete it and then go to borders. Okay, select that border where I deleted that and cap it. I'm gonna say perspective so I don't on my camera, and now I have a cleaner line as my ceiling. Okay, so now I want to create a cove lighting. I'm gonna select the lines that we have here. Oops, so I have this error that shows up. Okay. Alright, I'll just select them from the plan view here. So I'm clicking on or selecting the inside edges of this soffit. Okay, here. And then I'm gonna say create shape from selection, shape 1, we'll call it light, just so we know how to select it. So, and it's over here. You can see because we have a pre-setup of enabling the spline in render and in viewports, it shows up here. But for this one, we want it actually to be radial, and then we want it to have the thickness, I think 2 centimeters fine. I'm gonna pull this down actually because we copied the upper edge, which is okay, but should be maybe here. Okay. Right, so now we're gonna create a V-Ray light. Right, and I'm gonna make it a mesh V-Ray light, and I'm gonna put it here. So since it's a mesh V-Ray light, you can, if you go to modify, you can say mesh light and then pick mesh. Our intention is to make this as a light, however this is still a line, it's not a mesh, so you need to convert it to either a mesh or a poly, and then go back to your light and say pick mesh, and then select the light as your mesh. Okay, so we're gonna go back here and let's run a test rendering again. So you can start seeing this light that we created in here inside our ceiling. You may change the light of it or the color of the light from here, make it yellowish. I may add or increase the multiplier to, let's say, 40 to give it more light. And again, see how that looks now. Okay, so you can see it kind of gave it a little bit more for warmer feeling here. Okay, so now we'll just add some more lighting. We're gonna see how we can add spotlights here, and also how we can change the environment outside to make it look like you know, a scenery or landscape or a yard or something. So first, let's start with that. I'm gonna add a V-Ray light that is a dome. Okay, and I'm gonna place it just outside of my project here. It doesn't matter where it is exactly. And then we're gonna go to texture, where it says no map. I'm gonna click on it, and what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna select a bitmap here. So I have a picture that I downloaded from the internet, and it looks like a landscape here. Okay, so now I'm going to click on number 8 in my keyboard, and it will show me the environment and effect. We'll talk about this later, but for now we can just grab this and drop it here, and then link it to the environment map and say instance. Okay, so if we try to render now, you'll see this does not look like the sky. It just looks something dark. It's pretty much black actually. But if you zoom in, you can see that you can see part of the picture, and the reason it's so dark because it's affected by the multiplier, or how much this dome has light. So I'm gonna add a big number, let's say 100. Okay, so you can see instantly this thing got this outside environment got lit up, and also you can see that the space that we have here is lighter. Okay. Alright, so now we're gonna see how we can add a lights here. So now you can use this as IES file, but for now I'm just gonna create it as normal V-Ray light. So I'm gonna take actually this light here. Remember this cove lighting? Oh, so it's actually converted to polyline, so now we can't really use it. No problem, we'll go to the ceiling then. So I'm gonna go back to the ceiling, and then gonna kind of do the same thing over, where I picked the inside lines here. Let me see if we can loop it. Perfect. Okay, nice. I think this did not get selected here because it's kind of cut off, which is not gonna work good for us, so let's loop this line instead. Or maybe select it manually. Okay, now this is selected. These lines are actually gonna help me better. So notice before I actually start moving the view, I changed it to be a perspective, so I'm not affecting the camera. Okay, and then I'm gonna create shape as a line from this selection, and then exiting this poly, and I'm gonna select this line. I don't really need it to be shown. I just need it as a path. And what I'm gonna do, I want actually to scale it. So let's see, we're scaling here. Gonna move it over in a way that makes sense. Okay, and then you may fix some of these splines here. Looks good. Okay, now I'm gonna add one light, V-Ray light, and let's say it's gonna be the shape of a desk. Okay, and maybe it's actually somewhere in here. I'm gonna make sure that it's placed correctly. See it now, for now it's on the floor plan, showing as same level as the floor, which is not what we want. Okay, so when I move it, yeah, it's actually on the ceiling, and it's okay to be projected out of the ceiling a little bit. Okay, then I'm gonna go to tools and say align, and then spacing tool, and then I'm gonna pick a path. So my path will be this here, and I'm gonna specify that I want certain number of lights. Let's say 20 light. Okay, we'll say apply and then close. So what this does here, it copied, and we actually made an instance out of it, and it copied a this light over along this line we created. So let's see actually how that looks now. So you can see we have these lights here. So we're gonna change them into a spotlight actually. So since they're instant, if you change one, all of them will be changed. So we'll say want to see how it looks. It's not in my view, so I'm gonna change it to a light that I can see here. And so I'm gonna go to rectangular desk lights and change the directional property of it. Okay. I do want this to be a little bit cozier as a light. The desk is a bit, the radius of it is too much, so I think 5 centimeter will be okay, and you can see all of them are actually changed. And then we'll render this again. Okay, so you can see a tiny bit the effect of the light. The strength or the multiplier of our light is not enough to kind of show above the sunlight. So we can, if we want to actually make it more apparent, we can increase the multiplier. So I'm going to make it into 2000 luminous. And then I'm going to try to render again. Alright, I can clearly see now some effect. Okay, so this is how you create the spotlights and the environment outside. Right, hopefully we'll have other videos to explain furthermore about the environment later on. Thank you.